Hey, welcome to Natasha's Creations. So this is going to be a very venti video on my pet peeves or unpopular opinions or just, things that I hate. So let's get started. So my number one pet peeve is dishonesty. And I don't just mean lying, I mean like hypocrisy and lying and just random acting that's just totally unnecessary. Like there's just no point in it. I personally don't like to lie because it gives me really bad anxiety, but like even if it didn't, I mean, I don't really see the point in telling a lie. Like you just look stupid, you look crazy. Like why? They're just so frustrating, especially when they like believe their own lies. Like it's a lot. It's not a good look. And you would think that would be an unpopular opinion, but with the amount of people out there telling lies all the time, it's clearly not. My next pet peeve probably is an unpopular opinion, and that's poor grammar. I'm a huge grammar Nazi. It just gives me chills when like someone says or writes something the wrong way. Like could care less instead of couldn't care less. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. If you could care less, that means that you do care because you can care less than you do right now. And I know that one like everyone says, so I'm sure you've heard it before, but it just really annoys me. Oh, and then in texting when someone says could of, like OF instead of could have. And like one that I see a lot of YouTubers doing is no one apparently knows how to use past participles. Like if you ran somewhere, that's past tense. But if you could have run, that's a past participle. It's not could have ran. And like every YouTuber doesn't know that for some reason, and it just drives me crazy. And then when I'm reading a book, I really hate comma splices. A comma splice is like when you take two clauses and instead of putting a period in the middle and making them two sentences, you just put a comma and it's all one run-on sentence, which I guess is allowed because I've like seen it in books that have been published, but it just looks weird. And speaking of grammar, this one is probably also a very unpopular opinion. Latinx, what is that? Spanish doesn't have gender neutral words. Like that's just not how the language works. Like you can't impose English standards onto a language that is not English. Latinx is not a word. It doesn't work as a word. It just looks weird. I guess if there's like a Hispanic non-binary person you want to refer to, maybe Latinx would work for that. But if you're referring to like everybody, why do you need a gender neutral term? Like it's not inclusive, it's just stupid. Speaking of which, I don't actually like the term Latina or Latino or Latin or Latin America. I'm Puerto Rican and I prefer the term Hispanic. I think Latin just sounds weird. I don't know, it's kind of ratchet. Also, the term was made up by the crazy dictator Napoleon for like some stupid reason, and people like continue to use that word as if it's legit, and it's not. Next is people who don't understand the difference between antisocial and asocial. Antisocial is an umbrella term for psychopathy and sociopathy. So unless you are a psychopath or a sociopath, you are not antisocial. That is a personality disorder. That's not what you mean. Asocial just means not social. If I'm sitting in a corner at a party playing with the dog because I'm shy or whatever, I'm not being antisocial. I'm being asocial. Maybe. And along those same lines, people who don't understand introversion. There is nothing wrong with being an introvert. It is a spectrum from extroversion to introversion. You fall anywhere along the spectrum. It is a brain chemistry thing. It's really kind of complicated. Long story short, introverts lose energy from social interaction a lot quicker than extroverts do. That's all it means. It is not a condition. It's not a mental health disorder. It's not something that you grow out of. It's not the same as being shy or socially anxious. So please stop misinterpreting it. If you don't like animals, I don't trust you. Like, you are an animal. You realize that, right? Even if we are a little more advanced, that doesn't give anyone the right to not respect wildlife. Like, we're all part of the ecosystem, we all need each other to survive, and people don't understand that if some random little frog goes extinct somewhere, like, that has a ripple effect that can affect humanity. We're not separate from everyone else. And speaking of animals, here's an unpopular opinion. You don't need to be a vegetarian or a vegan just because you love animals. Human beings are omnivorous. And then this one's a big one. Narcissists. I hate both the personality disorder and the personality trait of narcissism. And here's another big one. Skinny shaming. So I know that everyone hates fat shaming and people don't think that skinny shaming is a thing, or like it's not as big of a deal. So this might be an unpopular opinion, but it is equally just as bad as fat shaming. Like, Meghan Trainor and her All About That Bass song drives me up a wall. Like, I just want to smack her. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just as hard for people who are too skinny to gain weight as it is for people who are too fat to lose weight. Those are facts and they matter. And if you don't think that they're on the same level, then you can just go to hell. Like, that's how passionate I am about it. It just, none of that is okay. And then this one's not as big of a deal, but I really hate Chipotle. Their food sucks. The one time I went there was a terrible experience. I asked for chips and salsa, and instead of salsa, they gave me a little cup of chopped up tomatoes. That's not salsa. Like, in no world is that salsa. Salsa is Spanish for sauce. So if I ask for salsa, why you give me a bunch of chopped up tomatoes? That's not sauce. That's not salsa in any language. It does not make sense, and it's really stupid. Also, what is queso cheese? Queso means cheese. Like, that's not a fancy cheese that you guys just made up. It doesn't make any sense. You sound really stupid. You actually have a bunch of idiots walking up to the counter asking for salsa and getting tomatoes and asking for queso cheese as if that's like a thing. Another food related thing is bottled water. It's a scam. A lot of bottled water companies steal water from impoverished places and basically make them drink slush so they can sell water in a bottle to richer people, which, I mean, that's like bottling air. Like, it's water. It should not be bought and sold. It doesn't make any sense. Speaking of schemes, pyramid schemes. Like, just purely as a former business student, marketing major, pyramid schemes are the bane of my existence. And as a human being, I cannot stand the fact that they even exist. I mean, it's a scam. It's ripping people off. It's not credible at all. And people going around trying to like recruit people into their little pyramid schemes are just, like, I don't want to call them stupid because some of them are just like really desperate for money, like they don't understand, but like the whole concept of it is really stupid. And like the products that they sell are also like, who falls for this stuff? They're plastic wraps that you wrap around your body that like supposedly help you lose weight. Just get some saran wrap. It's the same thing. It does absolutely nothing either way. And there's like shitty leggings and just a bunch of other stuff that like who's gonna buy this stuff? And like, how do people fall for these scams? Fast fashion, I didn't really know what that was until pretty recently, but I've always kind of hated it anyway because I'm like a very like tactile person. Like, textures bother me, and fast fashion is just like super cheap shitty clothing that people pay a lot of money for sometimes, or sometimes it's actually cheap. It's these places. I'm gonna put a list of all of the fast fashion brands that are out there, like the mainstream ones, right here. But yeah, it's just like really cheap, shitty clothes, and it, there's a lot wrong with it. So like, I hate fast fashion on a lot of different levels. On a personal level, I hate it because their clothes are ugly and uncomfortable, and I mean, you're literally just wearing plastic, like plastic fibers. Like, that's how it feels, and that's actually what it is. It doesn't, it's, yeah. Then on the next level, there's the whole sexism aspect of it, because guys can wear real clothes for as cheap as they want, and girls have to wear these bad fast fashion outfits that are really cheaply made and uncomfortable and don't help you in any way. Like, guys' clothes are like so warm and cozy and comfortable. Like, I went on a whole journey looking for jeans last year, like real jeans, because all the jeans that they sell everywhere, like even in country-ish like farmer stores that like should sell real jeans, like it's just like 90% plastic and like 10% cotton. Like, it's not real, and it's super uncomfortable, and it's super cold, and I don't like them. And it took months and a lot of money to find real jeans that were at least 99% cotton, and that's just not right. Like, why should women have to deal with that? And then on the next level, they are extremely unethical. A lot of them utilize sweatshops and a lot of other unethical business practices that should not even be a thing in the 21st century. Like, we're not a bunch of barbarians anymore. And on the highest, most universal level, these companies account for 20% of the pollution on this planet. Like, their environmental impact is massive, and there's just no reason for that at all. Like, there's nothing good about these brands, because you buy them and you wear them for like a day, and then you realize how shitty they are, and you throw them out, and they can't be reused because they're so shitty, so they just end up in landfills or wherever clothing pollution goes. And it's just a whole big mess that no one really talks about. So yeah. Next is a personal pet peeve of mine, which is people not taking business students seriously. This one really annoys me because I was a business major in college, and all my friends were like science and engineering majors, and I got a lot of backlash for not being a science or engineering major, as if that made me any less smart. Like, I was just as good at science. I took science classes and I got the highest grade in my class both times as not a science major. I took biology and cosmology. Math is not my strong suit, but I was always in an advanced math class in middle school and high school, so just because I'm not in those majors, because they're not my passions, does not mean that I'm not just as smart and knowledgeable as everyone else. Hey guys, it's future Tasha, and one pet peeve that I completely forgot is small talk. I have no idea how I forgot this the first time. I absolutely loathe it. It is the bane of my existence. Every time I have to do it, I feel so fake and shallow and robotic. And I don't mean that in like a hashtag deep kind of way. I just mean that it makes me really uncomfortable, and I feel like I'm not being myself. Also, there's no point in making small talk. Like, neither party gains anything from it. You don't learn anything. You don't feel closer to the person you're talking to. All you've done is awkwardly wasted time and social energy. So those were my unpopular opinions slash pet peeves slash just things that I can't stand and I just want to talk about. I don't know if you enjoyed this video or not, but if you did, like it, and if you didn't, dislike it. I don't care. Just don't unsubscribe. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. I feel a lot better after all this venting.